to Bad Larry.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the 1991 X Factor run. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and we only have 5 more X Factor issues before we wrap up this series. This cover is cool, but very busy. Between Jim Lee and Wilce Portacio, I don't know who is more limey, but it is Archangel that really stands out to me. It's the wings! If you look close and hard enough, they don't make any sense. But that is a lot of the 90s art style. It's about the effect and looking cool. Doesn't always have to make sense. This issue starts the 4-part miniseries Endgame, which concludes in one of my favorite comics of all time, and what makes me love this X Factor team and Cyclops especially. So let's kick it off. Cyclops is cranking the training simulator up to 10, about to put the team through some rough training exercises, because that's what he do. When all of a sudden the lights go out, this shouldn't be a big deal, but the sentient AI ship shouldn't have these sort of malfunctions. We see that someone is trying and then succeeding at overriding the ship's program. Ship is really letting the X Factor team have it, and Cyclops is less than impressed with all the chit-chat going on. With the X-Men elsewhere, it's up to X Factor to step in that role and do the X-Men's job for them. At the bottom right in green, we see a discussion occurring. This is Apocalypse spying on the training session. Some new enemies are also introduced here. They are called the Dark Riders. Dude in red and black is called Foxbat, and he has enhanced speed, strength, night vision, claws, and fangs. The gnarly dude in the green hood is called Gauntlet. His powers are, well, we don't really know, other than Apocalypse altered him, much like he altered Archangel, and dude now has green skin and gnarly teeth and uses big guns. Another one of the Dark Riders, Tusk, there's a main guy, big and can make armor on his back, strong, but interestingly, like Multiple Man, he can make little clones of himself that pop out of his back. I remember reading this issue as a 10 or 11-year-old kid and thought these creatures were just disgusting. It was hard for me back then to get them, understand them. Here, the skinny dude with the long face and even longer fingers is Synapse. He does telepathy fighting. Barrage here with the purple hair is another one of Apocalypse's mutates. He can transform his hands into these weapons shooting explosive blasts. So like Havoc, but uglier. And finally we have Hard Drive, a dude who can merge into technology and do technology stuff. So that is a 6-member group, and it looks like the first attack they are launching against X Factor is on Ship itself. Hard Drive is trying ever so hard to get into Ship's system, but is being thwarted at present. But makes sense why Ship is having all these bugs. It's under constant attack. Apocalypse tells the Dark Riders their enemies are X Factor, but mainly Apocalypse wants to get Ship back for betraying him. Cyclops is really letting the team have it for their less than stellar training. Iceman takes it personal, but Cyclops knows they must continue to get better, especially working together, so there won't be any more team deaths. This is a big deal to Cyclops. As the field leader, he feels responsible for any deaths that happen during battle, so pushing his team is a solution to try and outrun the pain he feels for those that died in battle. Archangel bounces. He needs to get some air and some peace. But flying ain't the same with the organic metal wings, not like his real wings. We are reminded that the wings have a mind of their own, saving Archangel from flying into the tail of a helicopter, becoming chop suey. Archangel heads off to take a peek at his little love interest, Charlotte Jones, aka Officer Jones. Charlotte puts some things in perspective for Archangel. He can't be scared out there. He's just gotta go do your best. Don't live in fear. Back at Ship and the X Factor headquarters, we continue with Cyclops' focus on those mutants who have recently died. Thunderbird, Cypher, Warlock, all these deaths in battle. He can't have any deaths on his watch, and he knows the villains they face keep getting worse. They keep getting stronger. They're better. so they have to train just to keep up with their enemies. But fighting for Professor X's dream of mutant human coexistence in peace, well, that's worth fighting for. That's what this is all about. Of course, I love Portacio and Lee's art style, but often I feel they will tend to over muscle up some characters. Bobby here is too yoked up. He's supposed to be only 145 pounds. Dude looks massive. These last 3 pages were a bit filler, unnecessary interactions with romantic connections. But I guess the point is that even though our heroes are mutants with powers and are superheroes, they still have humanity in them as well, and that need for love. And other than Scott and Jean, the other three have found love with human girls, which is cool. Sometimes these little peeks into a character's regular day is fun. I mean, Beast is a big ball of fur. Drying off after a shower would seem hella tedious. And we see Beast is taping all of Trish Tilby's broadcasts. Funny, kids now wouldn't even know what Beast is doing here. The Dark Riders are about to crash into ship on purpose. One of the things I didn't like about 90s coloring is this effect right here. Having all the characters in the same color shading. It doesn't make any sense. Even front lit by a computer, not everyone would come off the same hue. Meanwhile, just prior to the impact, Cyclops expresses his suspicion regarding the ship's recent malfunctions. It is an important lesson to everyone here. Cyclops may not have spidey senses, but he has a gut feeling. It's called intuition, and you gotta follow it. But with the impact, there's no going back. Gotta prepare for an invasion now. It's only Cyclops and Beast right now getting surprise attacked by the Dark Riders. Gauntlet is firing his micro-explosive pellet gun. Cyclops and Beast need backup fast. Marvel Girl is about to be attacked by Synapse. And before we move on, let's count those fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Without the thumb, wait, that's too many fingers, bucko. Or maybe this dude just has 6 fingers. Synapse pulls Marvel Girl into the astral plane as one of his powers, which he uses to utterly destroy his opponent's mind. But Marvel Girl is special. Even though her telepathy is broken, it's still in there somewhere, just weak or somewhat disconnected. Synapse is deadly. He takes people's minds to a place like here with Marvel Girl, to a time when she didn't know how to use her powers, pre-powers. To a regular opponent, this guy would be super OP. But something tells me Marvel Girl isn't any regular opponent. Oh snap! Synapse just effed up. Instead of destroying Marvel Girl's mind, he shook her telepathy loose. All of a sudden, Marvel Girl is telepathically linked to all her teammates again. Jean Grey is back, baby! There's a little Easter egg here. Beast refers to himself as an X-Man. This is obviously foreshadowing as this X Factor team, the original X-Men, soon return to that mantle as X-Men with the Jim Lee relaunched X-Men series in just a few issues. They were trying to let the readers accept that transition now with a little Easter egg nudge. I remember seeing this drawing, this image of Archangel for the first time as a kid and thinking, it is the coolest picture I've ever seen. He is so badass here. Here Archangel takes out some of Tusk's little back pimples or scales, whatever. And as Tusk starts popping out little versions of himself out of his back pimples, Iceman puts them on freeze. Synapse thinks going deeper into Marvel Girl's mind is a good idea. Bad idea. You can tell by the look on old boy's face. Now Gauntlet is about to experience his own gauntlet. It's 4v1, and I think this crocodile mouth only has guns as his weapons. Marvel Girl comes in with the epic telekinesis takedown of Gauntlet, and she says she also puts Synapse to night-night. She isn't fully aware that she's fully back. She can explore that later on once the dust settles from this battle, which doesn't seem quite over. We see Hard Drive is using the golden attack vehicle to start infecting Ship with his virus, overtaking Ship. Ship is not responding to Cyclops anymore. This might be the best rendition of Apocalypse thus far. It only took the art of Lee and Portacio to make Apocalypse look like we all know him to look. thick thighs, super buffed out, scary. I also think it is interesting the first issue that Louise Simonson, the creator of Apocalypse, is off the book is when Claremont Lee and Portacio decide to bring Apocalypse back off the shelves. Is it respecting Simonson or a dig at her for underutilizing Apocalypse? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, in this issue and then the next, they added these Apocalypse files, manifestos for each of the 5 X Factor characters. I think, again, as a way to pump them up for the eventual transition to the X-Men team. Make sure all the kiddies know as much about these characters before relaunching X-Men. The first file Apocalypse has, which was not included in this issue, but I put them all in anyway because it just makes sense. Apocalypse is not very keen on Iceman, not because of his power set, but because of his attitude. Apocalypse has deduced that Iceman desires more to be human, have a human life, than being a mutant. Apocalypse is fine letting Iceman basically melt away from the mutant gene pool. Man, that's tough. The next file Apocalypse has is on Beast. Apocalypse deduces that Beast overcompensates with big words and knowledge as a way to mask his fear of just existing in a normal setting, as he is too freakishly blue and freaky looking for normal humans to accept him as is. So he uses his knowledge as a show to distract people from his fear of not being accepted by humans. So Apocalypse calls Beast a dancing monkey, a performer, afraid of himself. And Apocalypse plans to simply kill Beast, thinking it's an act of mercy for Beast. Wow, another yikes. The third file on the team is of Archangel, Apocalypse's horseman of death, who broke free of his control. Let's see what old Blue Lips has to say about Warren. Apocalypse is in admiration of his creation, quite proud of Archangel, and we don't get any idea of his plans for Warren in the future, though. However, he does say Archangel represents the state of all mutant kind, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, a state of confusion. His body says slay, but his heart says help. He is unstable at best, which is a very good and accurate deduction of where Archangel is right now. And now, onto my boy Cyclops. What does Apocalypse's file say about Scott? Apocalypse says Scott is a big deal. He is the end of the beginning of the end, and the quote, father spawn of the 12, end quote. Apocalypse believes there are 12 special mutants, Cyclops being the first of the 12, that will either save or doom mutant kind. This is why Cyclops is always a big deal. But Apocalypse plans to use Cyclops' insecurities against him in his plans. We'll see how that works out for him. And finally, Marvel Girl. As complex Archangel is, I bet Jean is 10 times more. A great analysis, really, by Apocalypse. Jean has had to be everything for everyone and nothing at the same time. She's expected to be it all, and in trying to fulfill everyone's expectations, she's kind of lost of who she really is. However, Apocalypse knows she's formidable, calling her the White Queen while he is the Black King. Well, I play a lot of chess, and I can tell you what, the Queen is way more powerful on the board than the King. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know your favorite X Factor character down in the comments below. Peace.